That is good. And I know I sound distant because I had the I had the mic in my lap because I'm trying to figure out what is going on here. But yeah, I think I'm ready. I'm as ready as I'm gonna get, right? Yeah, give me another commercial. That'll work. While everything is spinning, because I'm definitely not gonna play my intro music today. So I appreciate you. Yeah, just give me another minute. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome. Y'all see the title of mine is Don't Sweat. And I'm sweating today because it is shalom, shalom. I'm sweating today, y'all. I'm sweating for my community. I'm sweating, but we're going to get through this. It has been a morning, and we're going to get going. So I got my engineer telling me when we are going to get going, and I think we're going to get going in just a second. But I'm good. I hope y'all are good, and I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, chiming in today. I'm at war. We at war. Okay, I got you. Thank you. I'm gonna actually, because this thing has been acting so crazy. I think what I'm gonna do is come in with my theme show right now, and then just in case.
Get to this generational wealth, bet that. We gon' lift off like a jetpack. Time to tune in, not just speaking real facts. Right here is everything you need. This ain't no get rich quick thing. Create your own economy. Cause we ahead of the crypto curve. Yeah. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve. Yeah. Learn from the queen of crypto, your host, Naja Roberts, leading people out of financial slavery through Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve. Learn to get left behind.
I didn't know if that was gonna work, so I just played it right now. The station is playing it. I just didn't want nothing to go wrong this morning. We got a lot to talk about, y'all. A whole lot to talk about. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast, and good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast and everyone in between. I would like to welcome you all, you beautiful people, to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, your go to show where we break down the good, the bad, the ugly, and the bullish in the cryptocurrency world. Y'all know what? This show is tailor made for our community. I'm your host, Naja Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery on this virtual underground railroad. I don't do just this show to change the way you think about money, but to make you change the way you look at money and everything else around you because it absolutely matters. Today is Sunday, May 11th. And I'm so super excited to say to each and every one of you mothers, happy Mother's Day. To all you grandmothers, great grandmothers, and great great grandmothers, I just want to say happy Mother's Day to you. And I want to give you a blessing. May your heart be wrapped in the same love that you give so freely. May your day be filled with the peace that you bring to others. And may you walk this earth for many more beautiful years. I have time to tell you, and you should know that you are deeply cherished, not just today, but always. Happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you. And I have to just start this show again with saying what a difference a week makes. So, for those of you that have followed ahead of the crypto curve over the last several years, you know that I spoke very heavily when I was on the radio every single day about the jobs reports and how the jobs reports came out. And then they would come back about a week or two later and they would change those jobs reports. So I'm very interested to see what is going to happen in the next 2 weeks as it relates to the jobs report that just came out in April. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The jobs report stated that 106,000 Black women lost extra jobs. Now, I don't know what extra jobs means, but ladies and gentlemen, I am going to tell you that the first report on the jobs report is always the one that's supposed to give us a soft landing. And then they go back in and they change it to the real numbers. So if 106,000 losses of jobs for Black women was the soft launch, and I'm just saying that based on historical data, if you look at the jobs reports, we are in a very precarious situation. Just with 106,000 jobs lost by Black women, we have got to take some massive actions. And so today, on Ahead of the Crypto Curve, I am going to be talking to those 106,000 Black women, but I'm sure that many of you know Black women who have jobs, and there are more jobs to come. Because if you've been following me way before anybody started talking about Project 2025, I was telling you that they are coming for us through human resources. Now, listen, y'all, I knew this was coming. And so when I say I told you so, for a lot of people that say, oh my gosh, she's always being the town crier or saying that these things are coming, and they call it and I'm not saying speculation, you know, a lot of people conspiracy theories. And I knew that this was not a conspiracy theory because I was watching what they were doing by getting their best to get hired in human resources, whether they were qualified or not. I knew that they were going to be in control of our jobs. And as I wrote my last book, a lot of people said, why aren't you just making this a guide to all people or to the Black community? And I specifically knew that Black women would need a little more instruction in order to keep our families together and to get ready for the next 10 years. And we've got to do that. And so we're going to stay connected today, ladies and gentlemen. Financial empowerment and the tools you need to secure your future. So when we come forward, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen that are online, it is happening. It's a man, it's a guide for for our Black women to ruling digital assets. So if you know a Black woman, I had somebody yesterday order, I think, yeah, it was 6 copies of this for me to sign them and send them to his family because he wanted to give it to his mother and his aunts and his girlfriend to ensure that they had the information that they need. And we're going to talk about historical data today. So stay tuned. This is going to be a great show. I'm on commercial break. As if you saw my, I'm here just nothing this morning. They don't want us to get this information out. And so I am super, super excited about ensuring that our community has what we need. And so shalom to each and every one of you. I know I'm looking at the comments, but it's kind of slow. I told you my system is really acting out today. So I may not be able to, but I want you all to know that I'm here for you. And we're going to get this thing going. Ah, I don't know what's happening with my internet. Ladies and gentlemen, I am just going to make sure that we are really clear about what is going on. And as I stated, Project 2025 was about it. And I'm going to say people like Roland Martin and all of these other individuals, I've been talking about Project 2025 coming for probably about 2 years. And I knew that they were going to attack our jobs because of how they were getting people in place. So if you go to Black Enterprise online, you can read all about this yourself. 106,000 Black women lost their jobs in the month, 1% in April. It is a full percentage point since March, which was 5.1. And so we need to really get buckled down at stake. They know that Black women take care of their families. They know that Black women take care of business. And there's a lot of things that go along with the fact that Black women are the head. And I'm not exactly what the dynamics are in our families, partly because they created it. And so as I continue to talk about Bitcoin, it's important that we understand never in another man's game. And they miss the win for a very long time. And so we need to have a real talk, and we need to come up with some life-changing ideas to help us level up together. We cannot do this in our own little rowboats, rowing one at a time, one person over here, one person over here. But what we do need to know that our sisters, our mothers, our daughters are being disproportionately affected by this economic system. And quite frankly, and I'm going to say it again, it was not made for us. But here's the thing, we don't fold under pressure, ladies and gentlemen, pressure. And to our families and to our community. And sometimes it feels like you're just swimming upstream, but I'm gonna keep swimming upstream. I'm gonna keep screaming. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep doing the things that I need to do, much of which has been very difficult for us financial. And people are like, well, why? If you are able to do what you're doing and have Bitcoin and have the knowledge, well, ladies and gentlemen, it takes money to get our community up and running, because again, folks do not realize what is at stake and how hard the systems and the players are trying to ensure that this information is not getting out to our community. As we speak, things are happening to try to prevent us from getting this information out. But historically, financial systems have worked against us. They've have felt this harder than most, whether it's the pay and gap or last in, whether it's the current layoffs, last year's layoffs, the layoffs before then. We have been pushed to the sidelines. And ladies and gentlemen, we have been pushed off the sidelines. We are off the curb and in the street. But here's the thing about Bitcoin, it does not care about your gender. It doesn't. It does not care about your gender. It does not care about your race. It is open to everyone all the time. No intermediaries, no gatekeepers. And I need y'all to think about that for a second, because we keep depending on these systems that don't do anything for us. And we have got to get ourselves free and away from these systems. And that's why I keep cutting up on, man, this just lets me know I'm in the right place at the right time. Amount of money consistently. You can accumulate something in the Bitcoin space. You can accumulate these small Satoshis. And so we know that Satoshis are the smallest unit of a Bitcoin, right? And so now Bitcoin is at 104,000. We hit our all-time high. And back in 2010, Bitcoin was worth just 10 cents. I got to get y'all to understand. We're talking a whole 16 years, right, ladies and gentlemen? We are talking about what has happened from 10 cent to 104,000 in 16 years. So I need to ask some of you, what age will you be in 16 years? Well, this year I turned 55. So that means I'll be a little bit, just a teeny bit over 65 in 16 years. Well, I'll be more than that. You know that. I'll be over 70. I'll actually be 71. And I think about my mother's age, and that's about where she is. And so, what will that look like for Bitcoin if we do, or if Bitcoin does what it has historically done? And y'all can't see me today, but I got on my camouflage dress because I am ready for the war. We are at war, just like y'all hear everything else that's going on around. We are at war. So when I get pissed off, I buy a few Satoshis. Now I don't buy a lot, but I buy a few Satoshis. When I read that jobs report about how they have fired and laid off over 106,000 Black women. Ladies and gentlemen, that's me. That's my sisters, my brother's wives, my daddy's daughters. That is us. We have got to do something different than what we've been doing and not expecting different. I mean, these different results happening. So we've got to be building right now and not spending. We're talking long term here, family. 16 years. So I want to take today, this Mother's Day, to make sure that our next 16 years looks like the lives of the families that got involved in Bitcoin 16 years ago, because they look totally different than what we look like today. So let's talk about some things. And it starts with simple changes. If you can just cut out, and we know we're in a state of an emergency, if you can just cut out one fast food meal a week, let's just say, I don't know where you can go and get a meal for $10, but we're gonna pretend like it's $10, which is much more than that. Or if you just spend 10 and you put 10 away, you could do a bit of Bitcoin instead. But when I talked about last year about us having side hustles, we're going to have to get back into free enterprise. You've got to free up some money to be able to invest. You've already got a smartphone in your hand. Some of you are listening to me through a smartphone. You've got a way to start. You can take your first steps in 3 simple moves. And the first one, ladies and gentlemen, is downloading a Bitcoin wallet, a digital safe to hold your Bitcoin in. You have apps like Cash App and Strike and Moon Wallet that are very beginner friendly. I tell everybody to download Edge, or you can download Exodus or Blue Wallet. There's so many wallets that you can open, and they allow you to buy Bitcoin right there by a small amount. You don't need $1,000 to get started. Even if you wanted 1,000,000 Satoshis today, it is $1,040 based on the price. But you can just grab $10 or $20 worth of Bitcoin. Stack your Satoshi steadily right now. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got to HODL, HODL, hold on for dear life. We're talking 16 years. I changed what I've been saying because of the fact that people need to deal with what Bitcoin has been doing historically. And we're going to go from 2010 till today, which is 2025, which is technically 15 years. But it was announced 16 years, coming up on 16 years. But anyway, we're going to hold on for dear life, and don't panic. Don't sweat what they're doing, because their plan is based on what they're able to control. They're able to control our jobs. They're able to control our money. They're able to control our banking situation. They're able to control our unemployment. They're able to control our disability, but they cannot control the funds inside of a decentralized organization that you've actually put together. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to hodl. Do not panic if the prices move up or down. We are going to play the long game here. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here's something critical to remember. You deserve, you deserve, you deserve this. We deserve ownership of our financial futures. Bitcoin lets us, you, me, that not they, but anyway, it allows us, our community, to control our investments 24/7 without asking for anybody's permission. You don't need their permission. How game changing is this? I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over and over, but I got to get you to understand what I'm saying so that you can, in turn, help your family and your friends and your sisters and your mothers and your aunts get this in their head. This is game changing. Let's not forget our creativity. It's in our DNA, ladies and gentlemen. We can all come into this space and understand what we need to be doing on the saving side, and at the same time gearing up to get our side hustles going so we can earn a little bit of bucks here and there that we can utilize to drive and fuel the investments we need to pay us back for a lifetime. And ladies and gentlemen, we can do this. We got this. We were groomed. We were, I don't even know how many words I want to use. We were tortured. We were everything for a time such as this. We got this, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I said today's title of the show is No Sweat. We are not going to sweat this. We are going to build and empower our communities, but we've got to hodl. We've got to hold on for dear life. We've not got to worry about how to spend our Bitcoin or where this Bitcoin needs to go to. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to just hold on to it. And so that's why we're launching this Million Family Challenge where they have million Satoshis. And so we are going to continue to just imagine a sisterhood where we share tips and where we celebrate the wins and we learn together. A safe space where you can ask questions. How did this thing get started? Who's in charge of it? And we're going to kick things off as we always have. But this new jobs report is critically important to our community. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward after sports, traffic, and news, we'll continue this conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got about a 6-minute break. I don't know what's going on with my computer, and I do know they do not want this information disseminated, but we're gonna get it disseminated today. I tell you, I'm like, this is Mother's Day, and they have got played war on the Black women, and we gonna make sure that we get this together. So, I see Jerry Mosley. I have to say hello and hey to you as well, and thank you, Hugh, for my happy Mother's Day. I need to do. I need to give you guys some numbers. And I want to let you all know my book is on Amazon, Queen of Cryptos, A Black Woman's Guide to Ruling Digital Assets. I'm getting a lot of reviews. People are loving the book. Yeah, I'm sorry. My internet goes out in and out when I'm trying to give y'all some good information. That's just what happens. And there's so many things happening in the Bitcoin space, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot sleep on this. When I come back on the air in just a minute, we're going to talk about what your investment today in just a million Satoshis could actually bring you with the current price at 104. So if you already got Satoshis, Go ahead. Thank you, Marion. Happy. Thank you for the Mother's Day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My mom always tells me I'm screaming. I'm screaming. I'm so passionate about what we're doing right now because this is a state of emergency and we have got to do something. So I'm going to talk about what that investment looks like. Um, but yeah, if you haven't already, if there's some other women or some more people in your life, it does not have to just be black women, obviously. But I saw this coming. I knew it was coming. I've been saying it. If you go back to my shows from day one on KBLA, when I was on the radio every single day, I was talking about these jobs reports and I was talking about Project 2025, and nobody was talking about it. Boyce Watkins, Roland Martin, Tab, Ricky Smiley, like nobody was talking about this. And I was screaming that they're getting jobs in human resources. And we have to continue to ask ourselves why. Why were they getting jobs in human resources? For exactly what you're seeing right now. They were looking to box us out, and they've done that with 106,000 Black women losing their jobs. Like, can y'all imagine? What? And if they start to cut off some of the services and things that people are depending on, it's just going to be atrocious. And so I know that we're going to have to work together more than we have ever. We've got to understand that some of our adult children are going to be coming home. Some of our adult children are going to need some help. Some of our families are just going to have to stick together. They're going to be multi-generational houses. Now, our house right now is multi-generational just based on the fact that I've got my grandfather here that's 100, and I've got my grandson that's here that's 6 months old or 7 months old. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I am really understanding the severity of what is happening, and they're not here for any type of financial reason other than the fact that their home was affected in the California wildfires. But the fact of the matter is, if we don't help each other, who is? And we have got to really start thinking forward and understanding that a lot of our family members are going to suffer and are going to need our assistance. And what are we going to do? We can't just shy away, but we've got to start to really sit down, buckle down, and talk to our families about getting Satoshis into their portfolio, no matter what they're doing and how they think that they're doing good. Things can just come to a screeching halt. And this is one of those things. And again, this is as bear with me as this internet goes in and out. I see it. And I am not quite sure what we're going to be able to do. But again, you can tune in to me on KBLA. You can download the app. And I'm ready. We're going to talk about what an investment today could look like in 16 years. All right, I'm back in about 60 seconds, so we'll continue. And again, I apologize for the in and out on the internet. And I'm starting to sweat, y'all. I said don't sweat the small stuff, but I'm starting to sweat because this thing is giving me a run for my money today. But that's what happens when you get information out to our community. And I am so sick of people asking, why are you just talking to Black people? Why? Because Black folks need it the most. And I'm going to make sure that we get this information out. And we're going to have to start immediately in our Black churches and our Black civic organizations, making sure that people get this information. For those of you that are listening, I am willing to travel. Have Bitcoin education, I am willing to travel. I guess I got to make myself a sign that I can hold up that says exactly that. Have Bitcoin information. We'll coming forward this next week because this is some information we got to know. But I am coming back on and we're going to go from there. And we are going to have something to talk about today. All right. Welcome back, everybody. welcome forward. On that commercial that just came off in my ear, it played. I'm going to hold up a sign just so you know. Have Bitcoin app information will travel. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we talk about what Bitcoin has done and the projecting Bitcoin future value over the next 16 years. And I've not done this ever since I've been on the radio, but I think it's critically important for you to understand that this 16 years that I'm talking about coming up forward is highly speculative. I am not providing financial advice, merely historical data, and I'm talking about factual, and I'm talking about analyzing historical trends in Bitcoin and some estimate the potential outcomes. So here's the breakdown based on my scenario. So your investment today, and this is um, May 11th, 2025. And Bitcoin right now, it just fell since we've been on the radio. So it fell down to 103,000. So if you were to take 100, it was 104 when I started the show or when I started my research this morning. So if you were to take $104,000, and that would be that's the price of Bitcoin. And if you wanted to get a million Satoshis, it would be at $1,040. That's what it would cost you today, or give or take, because it may be a couple of dollars less based on if the price has gone down. But Bitcoin has gone through four major bull cycles over the last years with an average of compounding annual growth. This is compounding annual growth at over 100% in its lifetime. However, as Bitcoin matures, its growth rate slows. So we talk about what people think is a bubble. So it started in 2009, and in 2011, the first bubble, they would call it, broke, right? Then in 2013, when that bubble burst, it was at $32. So in 2011, it was at $32 a coin. And then we moved a little closer in 2013 to about $1,200. And we call that the Mount Gox era. And Mount Gox was an exchange that a lot of us lost our Bitcoin on, including me. And then 2017, it was a retail frenzy. This is when most Black folks got into cryptocurrency, 2017. And this is when I really got an epiphany about what Bitcoin could actually do for our community. So we call that the retail frenzy, right? And then 2021, it got to 69,000. That's when institutions started coming in and started figuring out exactly what was going on in the Bitcoin space. And then 2024 is when they started with all these ETF approvals. And then there was also the Bitcoin halving. And if Bitcoin follows the returns that it has done in the past, as most assets do, ladies and gentlemen, future gains can be smaller but significant. So I need you to hear me. Bitcoin may not do what it's done in the next 16 years that it's done in the last 16 years, it's going to do. Well, let's consider three potential growth trajectories based on past trends and adoptions. If Bitcoin conservatively gets to 10%, again, conservatively, if we estimate 10% CARG, you all may hear that in the past, and that stands for compound annual growth rate. Now, a lot of people don't know what that is, and we don't really have a lot of time to deal with that, but you're going to have to look it up. CAGR, a Bitcoin in 2040 does what it needs to do. It'll be at $500,000. Now, if you just have the Bitcoin in your portfolio, that million Satoshis, it will have grown from $1,000 to 5,000. That's not a whole lot of money, but I bet you one thing is more than what you would have if you took that same $1,000 and just left it in the bank till 2040. So you have a lot of growth. That's conservatively. And so we're assuming that Bitcoin grows like a mature asset, which it's been doing, similar to gold or the S&P 500. Now, if we look at moderate estimates, ladies and gentlemen, the first one was 10%, but this one is 30 CAGR, 30% in the year 2040. Now, I need some of you to start thinking again. You will be well ready to retire in 2040. You will. So that same $1,000 that you spent at a 30% CAGR will be at $10 million, right? That's where we're looking. And your $1,000 investment in a million Satoshis will be worth $100,000. That's at 30%. And again, this is a moderate estimate, and your return will be 96 plus. Like, this is just great. Now, assuming, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin becomes a global reserve asset and faces competition from other cryptocurrencies, it could possibly be an aggressive return. And I got to let y'all just hear this. We talk about 2040, not way off when you're going to be not alive anymore. But we're talking about 2040. If we get an aggressive estimate at 50% CAGR, Bitcoin is going to be worth $200 million. That's 50%. And Satoshis is going to be worth $2 million. Now, could you use $2 million in 2040? I definitely know that I will need that $2 million. And so what am I doing? I'm stacking my little Satoshis bit by bit by bit by bit by bit, Satoshi by Satoshi. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we'll continue this conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even have water to take a break, but we are coming up on the top of the hour anyways. But I want to thank you all for rocking with me here on Ahead of the Crypto Curve. If you haven't already, please download the KBLA app. You can take me wherever you go on vacation. You don't have to be in front of your computer. You can take me anywhere on your cell phone if you download the app. But we're going to talk about this in a few. I'm nowhere near sleepy, but I'm tired. I was rushing today to get this information out to you. I got the radio in my ear. So we're going to get going in just a second. I tell you, I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, it is a grind getting this information to you all, especially when it's something that's dealing like with stuff of this magnitude. But again, for those of you that are just tuning in on Amazon, Queens in Crypto, please buy a book, support me, buy a book, support help somebody who's lost their job to really understand what we need to be doing. Super excited about this. So we're going to talk about it, finish it up, finish it up. Happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. I'll be coming back in just a second. I got one more break, and I'm hearing a radio commercial about Wegovy in my ear, and I'm hearing about the bone density loss of a lot of our Black women. And so, man, a lot of this stuff. Yay. Are you ready for me? Yeah, I'm back in 1 minute. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your Mother's Day. I got to stop in time to say that. So we gonna get in here and continuing to log in when the internet is out, because my internet is out, but I got a lot going on. And I'm saying a lot. So I want to make sure that we're getting this info. Tonight, we are going to enjoy our Mother's Day. Super, super, super excited about that. All right, welcome forward. Welcome forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to start paying attention to some of the signs. So, today, before we conclude, I want to make sure that you are understanding when hyper Bitcoinization is happening, and how Bitcoin is going to replace the fiat as a dominant money. And so, what key factors should you be listening for if you're listening on the news? I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but my mother is always saying that we're talking about today, this, Bitcoin, that. And so, adoption is what we're waiting on. Will some of our nation states, corporations, and billions of people use Bitcoin? The answer is yes. We had our first state this last week adopt Bitcoin as a reserve currency. And we had a second one this week, ladies and gentlemen. So 2 out of these nifty 50 United States has picked Bitcoin as one of their results. This is a big deal. This is governments restrict or embrace Bitcoin. So this week, and I've already prepared my videos, I'm going to be talking about Auntie Maxine and what is happening in Congress with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency laws. I'm also going to be talking about what's happening with our Fed chair. So you're going to have to stay tuned with me on social media. Find me. I'm Naja Roberts everywhere. And I'm going to be talking about these things so you can figure out how regulation is going to play in hyper Bitcoinization. And the last thing is technology. Can Bitcoin actually scale efficiently? And that's why you're going to start hearing more from folks that are working on the technology in the Lightning Network. That is a way for Bitcoin to scale. And so there is a lot to learn. There are a lot of signs to pay attention, but there are some macroeconomic conditions. And we have got to understand, will inflation drive demand for hard assets or not? And it's coming up. We got to watch what's happening. And my final thoughts on this is best case scenario in 2040. Again, not providing any financial advice, just speculation, that your $1,040 provided Bitcoin is $104,000 when you decide to get involved, could be worth $2 million if Bitcoin dominates global finance. And the worst case scenario, that $1,000 Bitcoin could fail and your investment could go to zero. But more than likely, somewhere between 10,000 and 100,000, assuming Bitcoin remains a major asset class. We will just continue to break this down. But for the 106,000 women out there, Black women that have lost your jobs in this whole debacle, just absolutely understand that we can do this. We got this. And we've got to understand, to all of you, my beautiful kings and queens, I want to leave you with this. Bitcoin is not just an investment. It's a movement. It's a way of saying deserve abundance. If you're ready to take the first step or just simply curious to know more, I need y'all to visit my website, Ask Naja Roberts, at not at Gmail, asknajaroberts.com. And don't forget to get the book, Queens in Crypto, on Amazon. I'm super excited about that. And always remember this, beloved. You were made for such a time such as this. You were made to thrive, to build, to lead. Now, let's get our game on. Stack our Satoshis. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's stay empowered. Now, the price of Bitcoin right now, as we speak, because I know a lot of people want 103,000, right? What you need to do, how you need to do it, and even folks in my family that are starting to wake up, and $752. Um, um, this, ladies and gentlemen, and the fear and greed, as I'm talking, just popped to 75%. So I don't know what has happened, but the confidence in Bitcoin is starting to make sure that we're staying away from some of these meme coins. A lot of these coins, they are just coming up with stuff. I'm not even joking, ladies and gentlemen. They're playing with your intelligence, and you need to stay bullish on Bitcoin. Yes, you can get involved in some of the other ones, but like, ladies and gentlemen, let's be for real. Something that's trending right now, this very second. Of course, Trump coin is number 2. He's at $13, which is ridiculous. But right behind Trump, like, they are playing with your intelligence. And ladies and gentlemen, you really need to ensure that you're in the right place at the right time, playing the long game. We're not playing no game with these folks. We want to make sure that we are in a self-sovereign situation. So when we come forward, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are starting to sweat in the office on purpose, because I want our community to understand we cannot sweat the small stuff. We have got to really get this going. My husband's going to be mad at me. I'm supposed to go out for Mother's Day, and here it is. I'm sweating in my dress, but I had to make a point. I got to make a point. We are, other than Amazon, yeah, you can buy it from me. Urban Spinster, you can buy it from me. All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, uh, Bitcoin gives you financial independence. No more relying on predatory systems. You're in control of your wealth, not the banks. And I'm just so super excited about that. We have a hedge against inflation, and you can just sit and watch what everybody else is doing, and say to yourself what I say to myself. I'm not going to get mad. I'm not trying to get even. I'm trying to get ahead. And the only way that that is going to happen is if I start to utilize or save in sovereign money. And so with that, I am going to stay static on Bitcoin. And I'm going to stay passionate about educating our community. So one of my listeners asked, can you buy the book anywhere other than Amazon? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can send me a text message to 424 317 7373. Again, 424-317-7373. And if you send me a text message, I will send you the information that you need to purchase the book directly from me. I can actually autograph it and I can actually send it to you via United States Postal Service. So yes, you don't have to go on Amazon. I know a whole bunch of people don't want to deal with Amazon. But that was my only way to get the book around the world. So I'm super excited about that. But yes, you can buy it from me directly. And we've got the tools, we've got the blueprint, we've got to change everything. So before we go, we want to make sure everybody is understanding all the things that I have been saying over and over and over again. We have got to get ready for whatever is about to come our way. In Houston, the internet closed down. The last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, Navy Federal Credit Union has been down. I stood in the grocery store for an hour for Navy Federal systems to come up so that I could do my transaction, because I ran out of the house with just my ATM card and my phone in my hand where I could tap. But they were both tied to Navy Federal, right? And so we cannot put ourselves in the position where we have to rely on them in the future. I'm not talking about right now, because right now we have to till we build our arsenal of Satoshis. But we got to make sure that we're taking these action steps, ladies and gentlemen, to get ourselves ready